Chapter 921. Big Fish Eat Small Fish. The one-finger flow shark shot forward. Blazing heaven demonis cultivated fire path, not strength path. She knew it would be hard to resist it head-on. However, she had extremely rich experience, and the sacrifice of the small firebird had huge value. Fang Yuan and the rest had been able to get some information from it. Blazing heaven demonis naturally was not an exception. Fire path killer move. 5 fingers blazing chains. At that instant, blazing heaven demonis had already made the most sensible decision. She quickly retreated, while spreading open her right hand. Her 5 fingers turned into 5 thin flames. They were like whips or chains as they moved to tie up the one-finger flow shark. The 5 fire chains were just about to coil around the one-finger flow shark when the previous scene occurred. The time in the area around the one-finger flow shark suddenly slowed down to an extreme. However, as a time path desolate beast, this had lesser restriction on the one-finger flow shark with its adapted traits and huge numbers of time path down marks. The 5 fire chains coiled around, but one-finger flow shark swayed nimbly, moving through the tiny gaps in an inconceivable way before successfully getting past them. That it then charged towards blazing heaven demonis, directly piercing through her forehead. The exquisite shark was like a silver arrow as it pierced out of the back of blazing heaven demonis' head. Success. Subai Man was shocked as well as happy. Shark Demon's eyes shined with a ferocious and restless light. An immortal zombie's body did not have fatal points like normal goo immortals, but the head was one of them. The thought processes of immortal zombies was slow, so they had to rely on wisdom path goo worms to create thoughts and help them in their thinking. Blazing heaven demonis' head was pierced, although not fatal. It was a serious injury. If the 4 of us can take this chance to attack, the moment this thought appeared in Shark Demon's mind, the one-finger flow shark changed its direction, shooting backwards as it pierced through blazing heaven demonis' chest. A dark fire burned, and in the blink of an eye, the holes in blazing heaven demonis' head and chest had been restored to their former states. Even Fang Yuan was left speechless at this sight. Such a formidable killer move. It can actually make the recovery so fast. Blazing heaven demonis covered her chest as she stared fixedly at the one-finger flow shark. In spite of having been heavily injured, she was smiling. Interesting. This has 3 time path immortal goo. One can slow down time, one can speed up time, and the last can change the perception of time. Although she did not know what time path immortal goo they were and what were the limits of their power, blazing heaven demonis was able to make some rough conjectures. When the one-finger flow shark collided with the small firebird and dodged the 5 fire chains, it had used the first time path immortal goo to slow down time. As for accelerating time, it used it when it poked the firebird. The firebird could not be maintained for long, and a part of it had reached its limits after the one-finger flow shark had hit it. The explosion of this part subsequently caused the explosions of the other parts, finally destroying the stable structure of the firebird, causing the firebird to explode, which almost dried up the surrounding parts of the sea area. Finally, when the one-finger flow shark pierced through blazing heaven demonis' forehead and chest, it used the last time path immortal goo to influence blazing heaven demonis' perception of time, causing her to not be able to dodge and take the attack directly. Shark Demon's frown not only became deeper, he also felt the situation had turned bad. The one-finger flow shark indeed clearly had the auras of 3 immortal GU. In just a few moves, blazing heaven demonis had already probed the details of the one-finger flow shark. This was a clear display of this rank 8 goo immortal's extremely formidable proficiency in fighting at the same time. It also showed the superiority of immortal killer moves to immortal GU. Worms had one ability. Others could often find the details of the immortal goo after it was used just once. However, immortal killer moves were different. They were a combination of countless goo worms. Not only did this conceal the core immortal goo, enemies would also find it harder to counter the effect. Just like Shark Demon expected, as the fight continued, blazing heaven demonis changed her battle tactics. She split into 5 or 6 clones. Each was lifelike. The one-finger flow shark was tired out rushing this way and that. Its offensive was seemingly impressive, but it was actually being played by these clones to move around in circles. Wild beasts are wild beasts in the end. They don't have enough wisdom. If it had an investigative immortal goo, Maybe it could see through these clones. A pity. It looks like the battle situation is set. Blazing Heaven Demoness has already obtained the advantage. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng secretly conversed, analyzing the battle situation. It could be said that at this stage, the battle had already lost any suspense. Regarding the one-finger flow shark, its real chance had been during the initial stages. If it could have used this opportunity when Blazing Heaven Demoness was still unaware of its trump cards, it perhaps could have killed her. But now that Blazing Heaven Demoness had probed out its cards, she had changed her tactics and immediately took over the battle situation. Unless there was an outside interference, this battle would have only one possible outcome. The only outside forces at present are Shark Demon and Subai Man. But do they truly have the courage to go against a rank 8 expert? Fang Yuan glanced at the immortal zombie couple and inwardly shook his head as he saw their hesitant looks. The true chance had been the instant Blazing Heaven Demoness' head was pierced, but Shark Demon already lost this chance. Although his name included the word demon, he lacked the mentality of taking risk in spite of danger. It could be because he had been part of Zombie Alliance for too long and lost the enthusiasm to fight by himself. It could also be that he had misgivings about dragging down Subai Man, even Shark Demon and Subai Man, as the people involved were like this. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng, who were just external aid, would be even more unlikely to take this risk. After secretly communicating for a while, Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng made the decision to act according to the circumstances and look to retreat when there was a chance. Sirs, please make your moves. We are unable to distinguish the clones of Blazing Heaven Demoness. Sirs, if you have a method, please break this deception for the one-finger flow shark and point out the location of the true body of Blazing Heaven Demoness. This will make the situation turn for the better. At this moment, Subai Man suddenly transmitted her voice, requesting earnestly at the same time. Shark Demon also added, "If you can succeed, we will reward you heavily. You won't regret it." Without any consideration, Fang Yuan refused with a bitter smile. "Lady Subai Man overestimates us. You two have been rank 7 Gu immortals for many years with plenty of methods and deep foundation. We are unable to match you. Even you two don't have a way to solve this. How can the two of us be of any help?" Tai Bai Yunsheng, similarly, shook his head. "I only specialize in healing. This matter regarding investigation is beyond my ability." Subai Man did not say anything more while Shark Demon gave a gloomy look at Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng, his expression clearly not pleased. Fang Yuan snorted inwardly, feeling disdain towards Shark Demon and Subai Man. Honestly speaking, it was not that Blazing Heaven Demoness method could not be resolved, but Shark Demon and Subai Man did not make a move. It was because the other party was a rank 8 grade expert. Once they moved to help the one-finger flow shark, it definitely meant they would attract Blazing Heaven Demoness' fury and her counterattack. Shark Demon and Subai Man feared Blazing Heaven Demoness and did not want to make a move, wanting to preserve some leeway. Thus they wanted to make Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng cannon fodder. How could Fang Yuan be stupid enough to be used by others like this? Thus, his reply had deep intentions. Both sides were astute. Shark Demon and Subai Man realized Fang Yuan had seen through their plot, so they did not attempt to persuade any further. Now it seems the truly terrifying one is still Blazing Heaven Demoness. Fang Yuan gazed at the distant battlefield, not concealing his fearful expression. It was rumored that Blazing Heaven Demoness had a great killer move called Blazing Heaven. In the past, she had fought with the rank 8 Heavenly Lord Baizu in Northern Plains over possession of a certain fragment world of the immemorial 9 heavens. But in the end she failed, despite being on the verge of success. Blazing Heaven Demoness was so furious, she used the killer move Blazing Heaven to directly burn down the whole fragment world, annihilating countless living beings. If I can't have it, you can also stop dreaming about it. Heavenly Lord Baizu's hard work and plans all turned to dust at the last moment. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance belonged to the righteous path. Blazing Heaven Demoness, however, blatantly had taken a demonic path action. Thus, after burning down the fragment world, she incited public outrage. Blazing Heaven Demoness withstood the pressure without any fear, even proclaiming that if anyone continued to make a fuss, she would burn down that person's blessed land. since she could even burn down a fragment world of the immemorial nine heavens. Burning down a blessed land was clearly a simple matter. The righteous path choked on their words, as they unexpectedly discovered they could do nothing to this brazen blazing. Heaven Demonis, at rank 8, one could be an overlord. If they truly shed off all pretenses and started sneak attacking and harassing, any force would feel an incomparable headache. Helpless. Even if the other party was an immortal zombie, she was a rank 8 great expert after all. Although her battle strength could not match a normal rank 8, it could not be looked down upon, and was not someone they could force if they went beyond the limit, and Blazing Heaven Demonis decided to attack. These righteous path forces with many assets to take care of would be the ones to suffer. Those with a bottom line are afraid of those with no bottom line. Those who follow the rules are afraid of those who don't. After this matter, Blazing Heaven Demonis names spread throughout Northern Plains. Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was able to hold their heads high, and no one could bully them. It was only after Blazing Heaven Demonis left Northern Plains to look for fortuitous encounters in Eastern Sea that Northern Plains Zombie Alliance fell back into a predicament that it could be said that Blazing Heaven Demonis had single-handedly brought Northern Plains Zombie Alliance to power and glory. Now, Blazing Heaven Demonis was fighting against the one-finger flow shark without even using her signature killer moves. She clearly had a lot of spare strength left. Fang Yuan even had a slight suspicion that Blazing Heaven Demonis had intentionally used the clone technique to try to lure Shark Demon and the rest to attack, thus finding another excuse to make trouble. Although Shark Demon was not duped, Blazing Heaven Demonis' move had created a rift between Fang Yuan and Shark Demon. The one-finger flow shark, an immemorial desolate beast with 3-time path immortal goo, Blazing Heaven Demonis was not only dealing with it easily, but she had successfully plotted against Shark Demon, Fang Yuan, and the rest who were observing the battle. It was clear that Blazing Heaven Demonis had outstanding battle strength along with skill and strategy. This type of enemy was extremely hard to deal with. Put it in other words, goo immortals who could slowly climb up from rank 1 to rank 8 were certain to not be idiots. Each of them were true experts rich in both wisdom and battle strength. As the battle progressed, Shark Demon and Sue by Man's expressions became even more gloomy. They had already secretly sent requests for reinforcements to Zombie Alliance's headquarters at the start of the battle. The battle had lasted for so long that those who should have come would have already arrived, but no reinforcements had arrived. Blazing Heaven Demonis had not arrived rashly. She had already bribed those in charge and made sufficient preparations, which was why Shark Demon and Sue by Man's requests for reinforcements were ineffective. Shark Demon even guessed that Blazing Heaven Demonis had already reached an agreement of sharing profits with the highest-ranking members of Zombie Alliance. In an instant, Shark Demon and Sue by Man's hearts sank to rock bottom. Their intent to battle kept lowering, and the anger in them gradually dissipated, leaving behind extreme bleakness. Big fish eat small fish eat shrimps. This was the normal course of behavior in this world of goo. This couple, who had been big fish since the beginning, now became small fish in front of Blazing Heaven Demonis. Rank 8. How could they match her? Let alone when Blazing Heaven Demonis not only had such strength, she also had matching intelligence. Shark Demon and Sue by Man simply did not have any hope no matter how hard they struggled. Sigh. Shark Demon heaved a long sigh before he suddenly lowered his head. Enough, Lady Blazing Heaven Demonis. Please stop. We are not capable enough. In consideration of Zombie Alliance's situation, it would be better if you lead us to take down Lu Blessed Land. Shark Demon, you know when to advance or retreat. Very good. Blazing Heaven Demonis' laughter came from above the battlefield. Her laughter stopped, and the fake bodies in the battlefield burned until there was nothing remaining. Without a target to attack, the one-finger flow shark stayed dazedly in place, seemingly at a loss on what to do. Shark Demon heaved another sigh, as he pursed his lips and let out hooting sounds. The one-finger flow shark was pacified. It lightly swung its tail as it dived into the sea again and soon disappeared. Clearly, it had gone back to the river of time. Shark Demon's method gave a shock to outsiders like Fang Yuan. Shark Demon's influence over the one-finger flow shark was already quite remarkable. Given some time, he might truly be able to control this immemorial desolate beast. That time. The 3-time path immortal goo on the one-finger flow shark would naturally fall into Shark Demon's hands. Blazing Heaven Demoness revealed her true body. She gave a deep look at Shark Demon before turning her gaze towards Fang Yuan. You are Xing Xiangzi? I am. Blazing Heaven Demoness announced with a forceful tone that allowed no refusal. From now onwards, I have enlisted you. In the following invasion of Yu Blessed Land, you must use your full capabilities. I won't allow any slacking. Chapter 922, Conclusion of the 100 Days Battle. Hearing Blazing Heaven Demoness command him so overbearingly, Fang Yuan was not angry at all. On the contrary, he was somewhat pleased. Shark Demon and Subai Man. This couple had put in a lot of effort to attack Yu Blessed Land. In the end, right before they obtained the fruits of their labor, Blazing Heaven Demoness forcefully took them for herself. They were really pitiful. Shark Demon and Subai Man had put in so much. Almost all of their life savings had been invested into it. After getting robbed by Blazing Heaven Demoness, they were heavily crippled. They lost a great deal in Fang Yuan's previous life. Shark Demon and Subai Man died while Shark Sea was invaded by others. Was this part of the cause? But Fang Yuan did not feel distaste for Blazing Heaven Demoness' actions. He also did not feel pity towards the predicament of Shark Demon and Subai Man. If he had Blazing Heaven Demoness cultivation level, he might have been more overbearing in his actions. Big fish eat small fish. This was the rule of the cultivation world. It was bloodthirsty and cruel, but any person who was older and had more experience would understand. This was the norm. It extended to all parts of nature, even before Fang Yuan transmigrated. The human society on Earth was the same. When benefits were involved, friends would betray each other, brothers would become enemies. This was all too common. The only difference was, they used excuses to make their actions seem grand and righteous. The truth was, there were people who, on the surface, were virtuous, but in the dark, they were dirty and despicable. But this was not wrong. To survive and reproduce was the nature of all living beings. But Blazing Heaven Demoness interference created a huge impact that would influence Fang Yuan's plans. Blazing Heaven Demoness has high cultivation level. She is also astute and calculative, more difficult to deal with than Shark Demon and Subai Man by 100-fold. But she has quite a lot of wealth. Maybe she can subsidize me in refining Star Thought Immortal Goo? There is also another advantage. Getting close to her would give me a greater chance of returning to Northern Plains Zombie Alliance and entering Earth Trench in order to get that treasure. In a breath of time, Fang Yuan had already thought matters through. The moment Blazing Heaven Demoness finished her words, Fang Yuan cupped his fists, smiling bitterly. I would not dare to defy Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness' orders. But I have my difficulties. I had just mentioned this to Lord Shark Demon earlier. In order to unravel the final battlefield killer move, I will need to refine a rank 6 wisdom path Immortal Goo first. Shark Demon snorted coldly. Fang Yuan had changed sides rather too quickly. Subai Man thought to herself. This Xing Xiangzi seemed to be a gentleman ordinarily, but to think that he was without a backbone, he could fawn and bend over to others to curry favor. He had no integrity at all. Fang Yuan did not care about their thoughts. They were already out of this game. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan, who joined partway, managed to stay. Seeing Fang Yuan's straightforward gaze, Blazing Heaven Demoness rubbed her chin. She smiled with deep meaning. You want to refine Immortal Goo? This is easy. I will fund you. Northern Plains, Luo Pa Valley. Another earth-shaking intense battle had just reached its indeed as the battlefield. Luo Pa Valley was in bad shape. Crushed rocks were everywhere. It was as if this was the aftermath of both an earthquake and a hurricane. The Goo immortals from Central Continent had various injuries. They were focusing their attentions on Feng Jiu right now. Admiration, trepidation, confusion, heaviness, fear, complexity. They had a number of different emotions. Feng Jiu won. Again, his opponent is Qin Baisheng, but even with his strength, he could not resist Feng Jiu's powerful attacks. He has already won 7 battles in a row. Qin Baisheng is completely at a disadvantage against Feng Jiu. The 100 Days battle. Only after 100 days did we see its results. Honestly speaking, Qin Baisheng is immensely strong, but he actually faced off against an even stronger opponent, Feng Jiu. Looking at the time, Central Continent's gang had reached Luo Pa Valley and attacked it for over 3 months. Met with the stubborn resistance of shadow sects Qin by Sheng and others. 100 Days Battle. This was a true 100 Days battle. Under normal circumstances, Gu immortals would not fight for such a long time, in terms of scale, there were more than 10 Gu immortals from Central Continent and Northern Plains involved. They were all shining experts. One could say, for the last 1,000 years in the 5 regions, there had not been a battle of such scale. If this was announced, the world would be shaken, commotions would arise, the attentions of innumerable observers would gather on them. But it was a pity, be it the Central Continent Gu immortals who were investigating secretly, or the hidden shadow sect which sought to remain in the dark. They did not want this battle to be exposed. Thus, this battle that should have shaken the whole of the 5 regions remained a secret from start to finish. Regarding this, the two sides had a sort of tacit understanding. Ever since the 100 Days battle started, the crucial members had always been Feng Yuan and Qin Baisheng. Initially, they were equally matched. It was a stalemate. Qin Baisheng, who had the territorial advantage and the battlefield killer move 100 million slaughterfield, showed a slight edge. But after that, Feng Yuan got stronger as he fought. He displayed his immense talent and ability. The two sides gradually became even. Then Feng Yuan expanded his advantage little by little. Eventually, in the last few days, Feng Yuan's battle strength had risen after a long period of intense fighting, and finally defeated Qin by Shang. 1 or 2 wins was nothing. But winning 7 fights consecutively, it proved that Feng Yuan firmly had obtained the advantage. The Shadow Sect members slowly retreated to the deepest part of Luo Pa Valley. A desperate foe should not be pursued. Feng Yuan stood proudly at the front. Seeing that their enemies had hidden into the valley, he spoke calmly. His expression was pale. He had over a dozen injuries on him. Blood was dripping from the corners of his mouth and his eyebrows. His originally brimming Gu immortal aura had weakened to an all-time low. But all these could not obscure the brilliance in his eyes. Every time he fought Qin Baisheng, it was a difficult and dangerous fight. But it was because of these tough fights that Feng Yuan could be polished, like a rock polishing a jade and turning it brighter. Ever since Feng Yuan joined Spirit Affinity House, he rarely had the chance to engage in such intense fights. Spirit Affinity House was one of the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent. Feng Yuan had a high status and reputation. Nobody wanted to find trouble with him. This battle that went on for 100 days would make other Gu immortals feel pain and anguish, but Feng Yuan felt a nostalgic euphoria. This made him think about the splendid times when he was still in the demonic path. But there was a slight regret in his heart. Demonic path, using all of my strength to fight. It is a pity. I can no longer return to such an exciting time. Right now, Feng Yuan had a family. He could not take risks easily. Furthermore, these Gu immortals behind him were from the other 9 sects. Their intentions were hard to decipher. If Feng Yuan really got heavily injured after fighting, who knew what actions they would take? Feng Yuan remembered what his wife, Bai Qing, had instructed him. After all, back then, Feng Yuan had challenged all 10 sects and made them lose their faces. After joining Spirit Affinity House, he had been suppressing the other 9 sects without giving them any chance to overturn the situation. Whenever Feng Yuan spoke, the other immortals had to listen. After the 100 Days battle, Feng Yuan's reputation was already deeply ingrained into everyone's hearts. Cough, cough, cough. After Qin Baisheng retreated into the valley, he started to cough uncontrollably. His expression was pale as paper. Each time he coughed, there was blood. Your injuries are getting more severe. Fairy Jiangyu, who was holding him, said in worry. She was frowning tightly. Feng Yuan is too despicable. He Lang Zi, who had lost an arm, growled angrily. Even though he is fighting you alone on the surface, he is actually getting his people to act like they are charging ahead, threatening our defenses, and forcing you to be distracted. If not for that, why would you lose consecutively? Qin Baisheng said grimly. Say no more. Winner takes all. A loss is a loss. There is no need for excuses. This Feng Yuan truly has immense talent. Using his own understanding, he created his personal sound path killer move and got to this stage. Even as an enemy, I am truly in admiration. Using his own advantages to scheme, plot, and gather superiority. That is the way of fighting. If he did not use these methods, I would have looked down on him. Saying this, Qin Baisheng coughed again, spitting out a huge pool of warm blood that he gasped weakly, looking around him. After the 100 days battle, only 5 were left: Hui Fengzi, He Cheng, Jiang Yu, He Langzi, and the mysterious black-robed Gu immortal. Originally, they had Shuesong Zi, but when they attacked Langya Blessed Land, he was killed by Fang Yuan. After leaving Langya Blessed Land, 2 hairy man Gu immortals joined them, but both of them were killed by the Central Continent Gu immortals in the 100 Days battle. However, the Central Continent Gu immortals suffered greater losses. Old Oracle from Ancient Soul Sect, as well as 2 Gu immortals from Spirit Butterfly Valley and Combat Immortal Sect had died, trying to take advantage of Qin Baisheng. How could that be possible? Even Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects had suffered heavy losses, but at this point, the most crucial member, the pillar of support, Qin Baisheng, was heavily injured. Luo Pa Valley's territorial advantage had been overcome. The remaining 5 Gu immortals knew the 100 Days battle had ended. They were the losers. Qin Baisheng tried to improve their mindsets. Even though we lost the battle, it is not over yet. Feng Jiuji's group is not united. They cannot fight us wholeheartedly. I successfully stalled for enough time. We just need to wait for one more night. When that immortal Gu matures in the valley, we would have achieved our goal. Tomorrow, all 5 of you will charge out. I will stall these people from Central Continent. Lord Qin Baisheng. Everyone was shocked. Qin Baisheng's decision was simply courting death. This was hard to understand. From their perspectives, if it was Hui Fengzi, He Cheng, or He Langzi, they would definitely only care about their own lives when they were in this state. Why would they care about others? Or, was this a trap? Hui Fengzi, He Cheng, and He Langzi kept their thoughts to themselves. They looked at the 3 people from Shadow Sect secretly: Qin Baisheng, Jiang Yu, and the mysterious black-robed Gu immortal. They were the core of Shadow Sect. The others were just outside reinforcements. Silence ensued. Everyone walked to their resting places. This will be it. Use this time to rest. Tomorrow, your performances will decide whether you succeed in breaking out or not. Qin Baisheng waved his hand weakly, dismissing them. He Cheng, Hui Fengzi, and He Langzi felt very heavy. Their gazes was uncertain. The 3 wordlessly decided to rest together. They were guarding against the possible betrayal of Shadow Sect. But late into the night, the 3 were summoned by Qin Baisheng. Chapter 923, Breaking Out. Late at night, in Luo Pa Valley, Qin Baisheng and the other 5 immortals gathered. Qin Baisheng handed an immortal Gu to the mysterious black-robed Gu immortal openly. This immortal Gu is very important. I am entrusting it to you now. The black-robed Gu immortal nodded that he was wrapped in a shroud of obscurity. Even up until this point, none of the Gu immortals outside of Shadow Sect had seen his appearance. They only knew that he had outstanding battle strength. Around the upper tier of rank 7. Qin Baisheng turned around, instructing Jiang Yu seriously. I can die. You can also die. But he is needed for the plan. We cannot lose him. Fairy Jiang Yu nodded solemnly in return. I can only guarantee that before I die, he will not perish. He Cheng and the others listened in astonishment. What sort of organization was Shadow Sect? It could make these Gu immortal disregard losses to themselves. Even if they had to sacrifice their lives, they had to complete the mission. To make Gu immortals so loyal, it was difficult for even super forces to achieve. This was an unimaginable matter. A moment later, the silent Luo Pa Valley erupted into thunderous explosions. An intensely loud sound filled the whole valley at the same time. There was a shrill warning, enemy attack. Fairy Ling Mei, who was warning them, retreated continuously. In front of her, Jiang Yu, Hui Fengzi, He Langzi, He Cheng, and the mysterious black-robed Gu immortal attacked jointly. The enemy was attacking with such force. How could Fairy Ling Mei defend against them? She only had one thought. That was to escape. Fairy Ling Mei came from Heaven's Envy Manor. She and Fairy Ao Shui had control over the rank 7 Crescent Moon Gu. They could unleash the killer move Peerless Crescent Moon / if they cooperated. Peerless Crescent Moon / was extremely powerful. It was one of the signature famous killer moves of Heaven's Envy Manor. Fairy Ao Shui and Fairy Ling Mei had always been together constantly. They were hardly ever separated. But now, because there were limited people in Central Continent's group, they had to encircle the huge area of Luopa Valley. Thus, Ling Mei and Ao Shui had no choice but to split up. Once Shadow Sect's group burst out, Fairy Ling Mei was caught off guard. She fought alone and fell into an extremely dangerous situation. Kill her. Fairy Jiangyu, who was at the lead of the 5 Gu Immortals, was bursting with killing intent. Her eyes were red and her attacks were fierce. Even though Fairy Ling Mei was a peerless beauty with grand elegance, none of the 5 Gu Immortals showed her any mercy because of it. Their killer moves were used in succession. They would only stop after Fairy Ling Mei was dead, the moment between life and death. Fairy Ling Mei resolutely chose to destroy an immortal Gu, stalling 3 breaths of time. For her, during this period, Fairy Ling Mei activated a Gu formation. Her body vanished amidst the wind and rain. At the next moment, she appeared far away. Huff, huff, huff. Fairy Ling Mei breathed roughly. Her face was pale. She had escaped with her life. Her face showed lingering fear. Her back was covered in cold sweat. So close, so close. I was at the moment between life and death. It is all thanks to this Gu formation. Fairy Ling Mei felt gratitude inside. This Gu formation was set up by Gu Immortal Hong Chi Ming after putting in a lot of effort. Hong Chi Ming came from Wind Cloud Manor, one of the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent. He was skilled in Gu formations and was famous in Central Continent that Gu formations had a point of inferiority to killer moves in that they could not be activated instantly. They took a long time to activate and were not flexible enough to be used for a wide range of applications in intense battles. However, once they were activated, they would provide a huge advantage. They were often faster than immortal killer moves and expended less resources. Precisely because of this, Fairy Ling Mei survived. Seeing that Fairy Ling Mei had escaped, Fairy Jiangyu sighed internally. The other 4 Gu Immortals also showed regretful looks. Earlier, during the 100 Days battle, Ling Mei and Ao Shui had collaborated to unleash Peerless Crescent Moon Slash. They were a huge threat to Shadow Sect. Almost all the Gu Immortals were injured by this move to varying degrees. Unfortunately, Shadow Sect initially had the territorial advantage. However, Central Continent took down their Gu formations one by one, and now, the Central Continent Gu Immortals created their own Gu formations. The outer area of Luopa Valley was now their territory. Since we can't kill her, we will continue charging out. Fairy Jiangyu shouted. She moved with determination and resolution. Ling Mei retreated. Central Continent's side immediately had a gap in their defenses. They needed to break out of this encirclement quickly. The chance was slipping. Ling Mei, are you all right? Fairy Ao Shui wore a white blouse. She came over quickly, showing shock and anger on her face. We won't let you go. Die here. Chun Jun Chi shouted. Isn't it too late now to want to leave? Bu Fei Yin sneered. Even though Fairy Ao Shui and Fairy Ling Mei were separated, they were situated quite closely. Thus, she could arrive first at AS for Chun Jun Chi and Bu Fei Yin. They could reach at the same time as Fairy Ao Shui because they had incredible speed. Jin Chi of the 9 Heavens, followed by Fei Yin, damn it. Hei Chang gritted his teeth, feeling great pressure. Chun Jin Chi and Bu Fei Yin were 2 famous flying grandmasters in the current Central Continent Gu Immortal world. Jin Chi of the 9 Heavens referred to myriad dragon docks Chun Jin Chi, while followed by Fei Yin, was speaking about Heavenly Lotus sects Bu Fei Yin. Jiang Yu and the other immortals wanted to break out of this place. Their biggest concern were the pursuers excelling in speed like these two. Seeing the 3 of them get close, the 5 immortals on Shadow Sect's side did not even say a thing. They only focused on breaking out. At this moment, a wall of light appeared, blocking the 5 immortals. It was the activation of a Gu formation. This was the work of Wind Cloud Manor's Hong Chi Ming. Although Hong Chi Ming was not inside, his voice was heard from within the Gu formation. Lord Feng Jiuge had already predicted that you would break out. Surrender now, and we might spare your lives. Once he said this, an immensely powerful aura got closer to them like a rushing dragon. This aura was so grand and magnificent, Shadow Sect's members were familiar with it. It was Feng Jiuge. They felt cold sweat breaking out as they showed panic on their faces. After the 100 Days battle, the five immortals knew clearly, even if they worked together, they were not Feng Yuan's match. Was their attempt at escaping going to fail? When the five immortals were close to despair, a golden arrow shot over, piercing the wall of light that obstructed them. Far away, Hong Chi-Ming's body shook and jolted. As if he was shocked by electricity, he spat out a mouthful of blood, suffering a heavy injury. The one who shot the golden arrow was Qin Baisheng. How could he watch as the five immortals failed? Thus, he forcefully moved his wounded body, blocking Ling Mei, Ao Shui, Chun Jinqi, and Bu Fei Yin. The four Central Continent Gu immortals arrived quickly, but also lost quickly. They did not just lose, they failed completely. Like Feng Jiugu, Qin Baisheng was not someone the other Central Continent Gu immortals could stop. Qin Baisheng did not kill the four immortals from Central Continent. He allowed them to retreat. His attention was primarily focused on Feng Jiugu. Feng Jiugu's gaze was shining. He had already understood Qin Baisheng's injury. He smiled with much elegance, saying, "You are all rushing about. It is inappropriate to leave without saying goodbye. If you want to leave, you should at least listen to my parting song, right?" Immortal Killer Move, Green Jade Song. The five immortals on Shadow Sect's side retreated. Someone cried out in pain while another grunted. Green Jade Song's mysterious power affected the five immortals to an extent. After being hit, their bodies slowly turned into jade, and the area was spreading continuously. The five immortals were resolute figures. They knew this was a problem and immediately shattered or dug out their contaminated flesh at once. Blood flowed like a river. Immortal Killer Move, Soul Suppression. At the next moment, Qin Baisheng struck. His powerful soul path technique was aimed at Feng Jiugu's face, pressuring him. Feng Jiugu's expression changed. He quickly defended himself. Qin Baisheng had two major trump cards. One was the Soul Path Killer Move Soul Suppression. The other was the Sword Path Killer Move Five-Finger Fist Heart Sword. Once used, ordinary Gu immortals could not even endure one hit from him. Feng Jiugu had three trump cards. The first was Heaven and Earth Song, second was Green Jade Song, and third was Submission Song. Not only were they powerful and grand, they were also profound and mystical. Feng Jiugu's attention was drawn. Green Jade Song halted as the five immortals felt their pressure decreasing. They quickly rushed away for a distance. Qin Baisheng used a Metal Path Killer Move again. Golden chains coiled around Feng Jiugu's limbs, tying him up tightly. Feng Jiugu was not frightened. During the 100 Days battle, the two had learned a lot about each other. Qin Baisheng's Metal Path Killer Move had little effect on Feng Jiugu. The golden chains were much more effective against Chun Jinqi and others. Against Feng Jiugu, he only needed a breath of time before shattering them. But at this moment, Qin Baisheng showed a wry smile on his face. "I'll let you see the true secret within Luo Pa Valley now." Saying this, he used his method and activated something. Countless mystical lights shot out from the valley. One of them hit Feng Jiugu. "This is..." Feng Jiugu shattered the golden chains, but because this used up his time, he could not dodge the mystical light and was immobilized. The power of Space Path. How can this be so strong? Not far away, the two fairies, Ling Mei and Ao Shui, were also hit by the mystical light. Their expressions changed as they gasped as for Chun Jinqi and Bu Fei Yin. They were extremely fast. They dodged the mystical light. Qin Baisheng did not care about them. His main goal was to restrict Feng Jiugu. Right now, half of his goal had been achieved. Don't struggle. This light is harmless. Feng Jiugu understood at once. He shouted as he reminded them that Ao Shui and Ling Mei were uncertain. But at the next moment, they saw that Feng Jiugu stopped resisting and was dragged into a deep part of Luo Pa Valley by the mystical light. Qin Baisheng's smile became wider. He approached a mystical light and was dragged into the valley, as well. Ao Shui and Ling Mei looked at each other. They gritted their teeth. Deciding to believe Feng Jiugu, they stopped resisting as they entered the valley as. Well, this change of events was out of everyone's expectations. They were only stunned for a moment before Chun Jinqi reacted and shouted at the Shadow Sect immortals. "Take them down first." This was a wise decision. Seeing that they were about to break out, the five Shadow Sect immortals were held back by Chun Jinqi and Bu Fei Yin. Next, Hong Chi-Ming, Old Lord Qin Yang, and Old Man Tianlong arrived. Engaging in fierce combat. One side fought desperately to leave, while the other side desperately prevented their escape. "Ah, someone save me!" He Cheng shouted. He was the weakest here. He was hit by a move and had been detached from the main party. "Ignore him. Protect our main target. Continue to break out." Fairy Jiang Yu shouted. She heartlessly abandoned He Cheng, protecting the mysterious black-robed Gu immortal with all her effort, at the same time. Deep within Luo Pa Valley, in a mysterious place. Where is this? Ao Shui and Ling Mei looked around in shock and suspicion. So this was it. Feng Jiugu, who had entered before them, had already retracted his gaze. This is actually a hidden thieving heaven demon, venerable true inheritance. Chapter 924. Discarding this ruined body to exchange for a clear breeze. In the mystical area, light shined warmly. There were no mountains or rivers, neither wind nor land. It was completely blank. That is true. Once Feng Jiugu spoke, Qin Baisheng appeared in front of him. Looking at the three immortals from Central Continent, he smiled deeply. If not for thieving heaven demon venerable's arrangement, how could I lure Brother Feng here? Indeed. Even though Qin Baisheng was very powerful, he was still at a loss against a 1-in-1,000-years monster like Feng Jiugu, especially when Qin Baisheng's 2 trump cards were not for trapping enemies. They were for killing. Temporarily trap Feng Jiugu. He had to activate the arrangements that thieving heaven demon venerable had personally set up in the past. This really is thieving heaven demon venerable's inheritance? Fairy Ling Mei asked in a heated tone. Since ancient times, in the long history of Gu cultivators, there were countless geniuses and heroes. But if these people were akin to shining stars in the sky, then the 10 rank 9 Gu immortals were each like the sun. They were bright and dazzling, spreading their radiance over the whole world. Every generation's venerable, be it an immortal venerable or a demon venerable, was at the peak of that era. They dominated the world and were invincible, unparalleled in their time. Among them, thieving heaven demon venerable was also a legend. He excelled in space path and had unparalleled stealing abilities. He even cultivated transformation paths simultaneously and was skilled at disguises. Before he was rank 9, he could transform into all sorts of people and use their identities to achieve his unspeakable motives. He even caused huge commotions over the world, sending it into chaos. Thieving heaven demon venerable also had a close relationship with Longhair ancestor. The failure to refine space escape Gu became Longhair ancestor's obsession after death. It had become a legend. Such a person, his inheritance, was actually before them. Be it Ling Mei or Ao Shui, these 2 fairies who had icy hearts felt excited. Their hearts were burning with ambition. But Feng Jiugu quickly discouraged them. Don't even think about it. Thieving heaven demon venerable's inheritance is not something you can obtain. Ling Mei and Ao Shui's expressions changed. That's right. There was still Feng Jiugu and Qin Baisheng here. With these 2 experts around, how could thieving heaven demon venerable's inheritance become theirs? At once, Ling Mei and Ao Shui felt great disappointment. Feng Jiuji's back was facing them. He stood in front of them but understood their emotions. He continued, "You misunderstand my words. Thieving heaven demon venerable's inheritance has a strict requirement. Both of you do not fulfill it. I do not fulfill it. And even Brother Qin also has no chance of inheriting it." Ling Mei and Ao Shui were shocked. One of them asked, "There is such a thing?" Qin Baisheng laughed loudly. Brother Feng really knows a lot about thieving heaven's true inheritance. It seems the rumors are true. Spirit Affinity House indeed possesses one of the true inheritances of thieving heaven demon venerable. They have been researching it for a long time. A pity there have been no gains. Feng Jiuji's eyes shined with brilliance. He stared at Qin Baisheng, admitting, "To think that Brother Qin knows so much about Central Continent's details despite living in Northern Plains. That is true. My sect controls a true inheritance of thieving heaven and have been researching it for many years. We have learned some things after these years." Ling Mei and Ao Shui looked at each other. They were unwilling to give up. Fairy Ling Mei asked, "May I ask Lord Feng Jiugu, what is the criteria to inherit it? Maybe we can achieve it, who knows?" Feng Jiuji's gaze had been fixed on Qin Baisheng. He did not dare to be careless. He said, "Do you know thieving heaven demon venerable's origin?" He is not a person of the 5 regions. He is from the outside world, an otherworldly demon. Thus, the inheritances that he left behind only have one requirement towards the inheritor. They have to be an otherworldly demon. I am obviously not one. Brother Qin cannot be one, otherwise he would have inherited it long ago. Why would he wait until now? Are you 2 otherworldly demons? Before Ling Mei and Ao Shui replied, Qin Baisheng flicked his sleeves and laughed. He denied the possibility. Impossible. All the Gu immortals in the 100 Days battle are not otherworldly demons. If not, why would I let any of you in here? Otherworldly demons? They really exist? Since the start of my life, I have never seen one. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable was actually an otherworldly demon. Ling Mei and Ao Shui were taken aback. Feng Jiuge nodded. Even though otherworldly demons are rare, they exist. Since they come from beyond our world, then outside of the 5 regions and 9 heavens, there are bound to be other worlds. Unfortunately, no one has ever ventured out of the Gu world. Ling Mei and Ao Shui looked at each other. They asked again, other than the 5 regions, there are really other worlds outside? Even if we cannot achieve this condition, the inheritance is fixed in place, while we humans are alive. Don't tell me that even with Lord Feng Jiuji's power, you cannot take it forcefully? They were unwilling to give up. This was a thieving heaven true inheritance. The experts could take the meat while they could have some soup. The 2 female immortals were not greedy for more. They just wanted to have a share of the loot. Qin Baisheng sneered. Wishful thinking. Back then, even after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable became rank 9, he still returned empty-handed after encountering a thieving heaven true inheritance. Not only did he get nothing, he even suffered a loss and ended up in a pathetic state. If not for that, why would Giant Sun Immortal Venerable hate otherworldly demons to this extent? The 2 of you think you can obtain this true inheritance. There was such a thing. This is too absurd. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable is also a rank 9 Gu immortal. He could not even take one of Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's true inheritances even after he died. Ling Mei and Ao Shui stared with their beautiful eyes wide open. They half believed and half doubted this. Feng Jiuge did not refute it. He said solemnly, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's space path attainment was unfathomably deep. It surpasses the imagination of people. There is a theory. Because he was an otherworldly demon, when he became a space path Gu immortal, a special type of space path Dao mark was produced. These Dao marks originate from another world. They are foreign to the 5 regions and 9 heavens. The space we are in now, it seems ordinary, but it had already transcended the Gu world. It is not within the 5 regions and 9 heavens. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable wanted to obtain the true inheritance, but he was afraid of the implications. Thus he failed and suffered a loss, unable to do anything about it. Ling Mei and Ao Shui gasped in shock. The 2 of them were too inexperienced compared to Feng Jiuge and Qin Baisheng. This was the first time they had heard about such secrets regarding the Venerables at once. Ling Mei and Ao Shui felt their horizons expanding, but soon they became worried and anxious. Not even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could do anything to this mystical space. How can we get out? Don't worry, as long as we do not move, in 15 minutes, we will be teleported out. Feng Jiuge replied confidently. If it were other Gu immortals who landed here, they would use their methods to investigate. In that case, they would be in trouble. The time that they were trapped would be extended. But Spirit Affinity House possessed one of Thieving Heaven's true inheritances, and Feng Jiuge was a higher-up in Spirit Affinity House. He knew the proper way to leave this true inheritance. But at this moment, Qin Baisheng raised his head and laughed. Feng Jiuge, since I took great pains to lure you in here, how can I let you leave? Stay here for good. Saying this, Qin Baisheng struck. His powerful aura burst into the air. Ling Mei and Ao Shui acted like they were facing a strong foe. Feng Jiuge quickly said, Don't move. In this place, it might seem like we are close to each other, but we are actually very far away from each other. He is trying to lure you to attack. Once you do, this place will change and target whoever attacks. The stronger the attack, the greater the backlash from this place, and the longer you will be trapped. Do not fall into his trap. Feng Jiuge was very aware regarding this Thieving Heaven true inheritance. He was clear about the terrifying power of this mystical space. Even though he was proud and powerful, he did not dare to act rashly. Ling Mei and Ao Shui chose to believe Feng Jiuge. They held in their impulse and did not attack. But Qin Baixing showed a weird smile. Brother Feng is very confident, but it is a pity that your sect has not researched deeply enough into thieving heaven's true inheritances. I wonder what you will do against my next action. He spoke calmly as he activated the goo worms in his body. His aura burst out and reached its peak. What is he trying to do? Feng Jiuge felt something amiss. He focused himself. His gaze was like lightning, looking at Qin Baixing fixedly. But at the next moment, Qin Baixing's action was something out of the central continent immortals' expectations. They only heard Qin Baixing recite. Even after experiencing 54 tribulations, the sky is still filled with tribulation clouds. The soul light in my chest pressures everyone. The sword qi in my fist dominates northern plains. 400 years passed rapidly. How can there be life without death? Discarding this ruined body to exchange for a clear breeze, I will sweep the heavens for countless light years. His voice was clear and loud. He spoke with a calm expression. His gaze showed a sign of expectation towards the future. After finishing this poem, he smiled lightly at Feng Jiuge. Next, he shut his eyes, all signs of life leaving his body. Feng Jiuge frowned tightly. Even during the 100 Days battle, he did not show such an expression. At this moment, Qin Baixing had actually ended his own life. At the next moment, a clear breeze started from within Qin Baixing's body. Behind Feng Jiuge, Ling Mei and Ao Shui's expressions changed. Their voices were trembling from fear. They screamed, "Winds of assimilation." As it turned out, in order to stop Feng Jiuge, Qin Baixing had given up his own life, making the ultimate sacrifice. His method was ruthless. He directly destroyed his own immortal aperture. Once the immortal aperture was destroyed, without other immortal apertures to hold it, winds of assimilation started blowing. Winds of assimilation were extraordinary. They assimilated everything. Even rank 8 Gu immortals had to avoid them at all costs. And in this mystical true inheritance space, if five-finger fist heart sword or heaven and earth song were used, it would only be like a pebble tossed into a lake. At this moment, winds of assimilation blew. Even though it was a clear breeze, the entire mystical space started shaking. It was as if water on a lake was boiled. There were ripples forming in the space unceasingly. Feng Jiuge had a solemn expression. Against Qin Baixing's resolute attack, he had to face it with all of his ability. If he was careless, he would die. Behind him, Ling Mei and Ao Shui had activated their goo worms, protecting their bodies. Even Feng Jiuge had to activate his immortal goo. Of course they had to do the same. Leaving the mystical space was another issue now. They had to survive this crisis first. Otherwise, it would be a pointless thing to worry about. Chapter 925, Blazing Glory, Lightning Brilliance. 2 flowers blossomed, each branching in different directions. Ignoring the situation of Qin Baixing sacrificing himself to create the winds of assimilation, entrapped Feng Jiuge, Ling Mei, and Ao Shui in a dangerous situation for now. Looking instead at Jiang Yu and the other immortals breaking out. They were about to escape, but He Cheng was hit by a killer move and fell. His face was pale as he shouted for help. However, they were all escaping for their lives. Every second was important. At the crucial moment, any hesitation would mean the difference between life and death. The immortals ignored him. They only raised their own speeds to the limits. Fairy Jiang Yu was even more heartless. She directly told them to abandon him, disregarding He Cheng's life or death. They were so close to escaping, freedom was right in front of them. He Cheng was lagging behind. Couldn't he be useful installing the central continent Gu immortals? However, he controlled the immortal Gu House Dark Prison. After He Cheng died, it might end up in the central continent Gu immortals' hands. That was a slight pity to Jiang Yu and the others, but it was only slightly regretful. Compared to the immortal Gu House, their own lives were more important. You can all continue playing around. I'm out of here. While they were breaking out, Hui Fengzi laughed loudly. Immortal killer move. Wind escape. His speed rose sharply. In a few breaths of time, he was way ahead of Jiang Yu and the others. Seeing Jiang Yu and the others' fiery gazes, Hui Fengzi flew even faster. Cooperate with me. Hong Chi Ming shouted that GU formations at the outer area activated. giving off bright light. After the 100 Days battle, the central continent Gu immortals had gained some coordination. Where are you going? Chun Jinqi and Bu Fei Yin moved out, using a Gu formation at the periphery to chase and block Hui Fengzi. Hui Fengzi was known as the fastest in northern plains. He came and went like the wind. Central continent Gu immortals had to admit that. Just Chun Jinqi or Bu Fei Yin alone could not stop Hui Fengzi. But now, they were cooperating with much coordination at once. No matter how Hui Fengzi maneuvered, he could not shake off Chun and Bu. His speed gradually fell as he failed his escape. He deserves it. Jiang Yu and the others felt gratified. They turned towards another direction and tried to escape from the side. Go down. Old Lord Kenyang snorted in anger, using his signature life-chasing fire. Hong Qiming followed up with another attack, beating the dog while it was down. He Cheng's body was burning in flames. He screamed in pain as he fell from the sky. With a loud crash, he landed on the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood as countless vines grew from the ground, tying him up firmly at once. He Cheng was trapped. While Hui Fengzi was obstructed, Hong Qiming left He Cheng as he chased He Langzi. He activated his killer move, mercilessly attacking He Langzi. He Langzi had to use his transformation path killer move, turning into the lightning flash giant wolf to resist it. Fairy Jiangyu and the mysterious black-robed Gu immortal were not far away. They were obstructed by Old Man Tianlong and Old Lord Kenyang. They did not waste time in trash-talking. The four immortals engaged in fierce combat at once. Winds surged and thunderous explosions occurred. The four immortals displayed their might. They shook the surroundings as intense air currents were created. Mountains, rocks crumbled and broke. Old Lord Kenyang was a famous rank 7 Gu immortal. When Dong Fangchong Fan had been pretending to be dead, he had fought unfettered scholar Fang Yuan, Pai Shui Han alone. He had excellent battle strength. Old Man Tianlong's strength was similar to Old Lord Kenyang. The former was a supreme elder of Black Heaven Temple. He was sent here by Black Heaven Temple for the secret purpose of countering the sound path Gu immortal Feng Jiugu. Looking at Shadow Sect, the mysterious black-robed Gu immortal was indeed powerful, but Fairy Jiangyu was weaker. After more than 10 rounds of fighting, Old Man Tianlong and Old Lord Kenyang had the upper hand. They obtained a good chance to strike. Immortal killer move. Life-chasing fire. Oh no. Fairy Jiangyu was shocked. She wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Stand back, let me deal with it. At the crucial moment, the mysterious black-robed Gu immortal used his method, replacing Fairy Jiangyu and using his body to block the life-chasing fire. Oh, strange. Old Lord Kenyang was slightly shocked. The mysterious black-robed Gu immortal was hit by the life-chasing fire, but he was completely intact. It was as if nothing had happened. Sneaky fellow, show us your true appearance. Old Man Tianlong shouted. His hands clapped together as blades flew out from the sky. The mysterious black-robed Gu immortal blocked them as his robe was torn. His appearance was exposed to everyone. Old Lord Kenyang was stunned. You have the blazing glory lightning brilliance physique. One of the 10 extreme physiques. Blazing glory lightning brilliance. Why are you afraid? He is merely an immortal zombie. Old Man Tianlong howled repeatedly, his attacks becoming fiercer. The mysterious black-robed Gu immortal's true identity was a rank 7 immortal zombie. Different from other immortal zombies, he had a special identity. He had one of the 10 extreme physiques, blazing glory lightning brilliance, and had turned into an immortal zombie. Since you found out, there is no point in hiding this anymore. The mysterious black-robed Gu immortal tore off his black robe, pouncing at Old Lord Kenyang. Old Lord Kenyang was a fire path Gu immortal. He was countered by the blazing glory lightning brilliance physique. He had the disadvantage. Old Man Tianlong wanted to help, but Fairy Jiangyu risked her life to block him. Quickly go. Fairy Jiangyu screamed. Blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie angrily snorted, forcing back Old Lord Kenyang. He did not look back. He flew out of Luopa Valley, successfully escaping. Where are you going? Old Lord Kenyang roared, wanting to chase him, but Fairy Jiangyu, who was bathed in blood, managed to block him miraculously. It seems that you have given up on living. Is this immortal zombie your lover? Is he worth your sacrifice? Old man Tianlong's expression was cold. He descended from the sky, and his hand hit Fairy Jiangyu's back firmly. Boom! Fairy Jiangyu was at her wit's end. She could not defend herself. Her chest was shattered as a huge hole appeared. One could see through it. Her beautiful eyes turned hollow. Her purple dress fluttered in the sky, like a butterfly slowly landing on the ground. 10 breaths of time later, Fairy Jiangyu's corpse landed on the ground. Her bones and tendons were broken. Her flesh turned into pulp. Fairy Jiangyu died. At this point, Shadow Sect no longer had a chance. Old Lord Kenyang and Old Man Tianlong were free now. They could deal with He Lang Zi and Hui Feng Zi. Hong Qiming's focus was on restricting He Cheng. A moment later, He Lang Zi screamed in a deafening tone. The giant wolf that he had turned into was cut into two. His corpse turned into a human body. Blood flowed as his internal organs were torn. He died a terrible death. He Cheng was left without a choice. He reluctantly activated the immortal Gu House Dark Prison. Even though the immortal Gu House was powerful, it needed to expend a huge amount of immortal essence. After the 100 Days battle, He Cheng was already bankrupt. He did not have much immortal essence left. There was insufficient immortal essence to activate the immortal Gu House Dark Prison. It had less than 1% of its full power. Hong Qiming used his Gu formation to trap it. 15 minutes later, Hui Fengzi lost as well. He was extremely fast and slippery, but after the 100 Days battle, everyone knew each other's abilities. He did not have any special techniques left, and the Central Continent Gu Immortals had an extremely tight defensive ring, like an impenetrable net. Hui Fengzi was like a fish that was caught in a net. Even though he struggled intensely, he was bound to lose. Don't kill me. I surrender. At the moment before death, Hui Fengzi surrendered with a pale expression. The Central Continent Gu Immortals looked at each other, expressing their joy. Death was truly a terrifying thing that a wise man submits to circumstances. The Central Continent Gu Immortals understood why Hui Fengzi surrendered. Don't play tricks. Hand over your immortal Gu. The Central Continent Gu Immortals did not relax. They surrounded Hui Fengzi tightly. Hui Fengzi did not have any chances left. He sighed deeply as he handed over his immortal Gu. Without his immortal Gu, he was like a tiger without its claws and teeth. His threat level dropped. Only until he was completely under control and his life and death was at their whim did the Central Continent Gu Immortals breathe out deeply in relief. Focusing their minds, they started to deal with the immortal Gu. House Dark Prison. Hui Fengzi's surrender gave the Central Continent Gu Immortals hope. The 100 Days battle expended a huge amount of their immortal essence. The Central Continent Gu Immortals suffered great losses. Their pressure was immense. After capturing Hui Fengzi, the immortal Gu they obtained were enough to recoup their losses. If they could obtain the immortal Gu House Dark Prison as well, they would earn a huge profit from this. 7 minutes later, Dark Prison was taken down by the Central Continent Immortals. But unexpectedly, where is He Cheng? So decisive. He abandoned this immortal Gu House immediately and escaped. While we were capturing Hui Fengzi, he secretly dug underground and escaped. He really managed to deceive us. Humph. A coward who is afraid of death. A person who is barely surviving. He is not worth considering. At this point, the escape attempt of Shadow Sect side had ended. The battle was over and the dust had settled. Qin Baisheng, Fairy Jiangyu were sacrificed. He Lang Zi died. Hui Fengzi surrendered. The blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie had escaped with the crucial immortal Gu. He Cheng, who had the lowest battle strength, abandoned the immortal Gu House Dark Prison and escaped a few months ago. These people attacked Langya blessed land with overwhelming might. Over 100 days later, they were either dead, injured, had surrendered, or escaped. Even the powerful Qin Baisheng was sacrificed inside Luo Pa Valley. This showed the cruelty of the Gu cultivation world. Even at Gu immortal level, they were not free from danger. One could still die easily. More than 10 days later, a figure emerged in Earth Trench. Earth Trench was under the control of Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. It was guarded by Dark Flow Giant City, but this mysterious figure could enter and leave easily. He did not attract any suspicion. After entering Earth Trench, the mysterious figure was familiar with Earth Trench's terrain as he moved rapidly, taking a shortcut and entering deep into it. A few days later, A giant graveyard appeared before the mysterious figure's vision. I am finally here. The mysterious figure finally showed his appearance that it was the blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie who had escaped from Luo Pa Valley. As it turned out, Shadow Sect's backup plan was hidden here. Back then when Central Continent's group attacked Luo Pa Valley, Qin Baisheng and Zhang Yu had thought of breaking out and coming here to use their trump card and resolve the crisis in Luo Pa Valley. But this trump card was extremely important. If it was used abruptly, it could disrupt Shadow Sect's plan. Qin Baisheng and the others were hesitant. When they had resolved to use it, the battle had already become very intense. They had no chance to do it anymore. They tried it forcefully, but only sacrificed the hairy man-gu immortals in vain. Now, Luo Pa Valley was taken over by Central Continent's group. The blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie did not come here thinking of revenge and activating Shadow Sect's backup plan. He wanted to hide himself and placed the crucial immortal goo here for safekeeping. This immortal goo was related to Shadow Sect's crucial plan. It could not be lost. For this, Qin Baisheng and Zhang Yu had sacrificed their lives. Just a bit more time. We just need a bit more time. The blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie felt anger and melancholy. He carried the immortal goo and entered deep into the graveyard. This was the graveyard of immortal zombies. He was an immortal zombie. It was too easy to disguise as a member. However, just when the blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie thought that his ordeal was over and that he was safe, a figure appeared. Interesting to think that I would meet a 10 extreme physique immortal zombie here. The person looked at the blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie, evaluating with an interested tone. His rank 8 aura was emanating to AT this moment. The blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie felt like he had fallen into an icy abyss. His heart was filled with despair. Old ancestor Shuehu? Why is he here?